Hey guys, as some of you know, I'm all for using automation to remove human error and to improve efficiencies and turnaround times. Well, one of the ways that we use automation within Brisbane Town Planning is through our site assessment tool. This thing is absolutely incredible. It searches for like the history on the site, it finds out whether there's easements on the property, it works out the zoning, just within a few clicks. It is so cool. Anyway, within BTP, so when I say within BTP, I mean between B and I, we refer to this system as Charlie. Peter Charles, Charlie, you get the idea? I think it's hilarious when people come to me and go, oh my goodness, I've just worked it out. It's your last name. I think, oh guys, come on. No, the way I look at it is if I ever decide to get my act into gear and find a boy and settle down and get married, then it's a way for my name to live on. Yeah, sad, I know. Anyway, B came to me last week and she said, hey, do you think we should improve Charlie or build Charlie out to include some heritage searches? So to do the citation search and all that sort of stuff. At the time I sat there and went, yeah, nah, too much effort, not enough return, like we don't do enough of these sites, it's just not worth it. Yeah, I think I jinxed myself. Since then, so in like the last week or so, we've had 3 separate inquiries for heritage listed sites. Then yesterday, Daniel made a comment about his heritage listed property against one of our posts. And then last night, I was fortunate enough to get invited to a, what's it called? Australian Architects Institute? Australian Institute Architects? That's it. And basically the head honcho body of architects within Brisbane. I was fortunate enough to be invited to one of their presentations on heritage stuff. Yeah, you think the world's trying to tell me something? I think it's trying to tell me that this week's video needs to be based on heritage stuff. So in today's video, we're going to answer the question, what can I do on a heritage listed site? Stick around. Okay, so let's just dive straight into it. Let's start with the rules. What are the rules when it comes to a heritage listed site? Yeah, hate to break it to you guys, but unfortunately, there are no rules. There are no black and white requirements when it comes to heritage listed sites, because each and every heritage site is totally unique and totally different. Yeah, kind of a disappointment of down, hey? Having said that, don't freak out. Having said that, there are 3 guiding principles, tips, in my personal opinion. So these aren't things that are actually published out there, these are just my interpretation. So, number 1, let's go citation. What does citation mean? Essentially, citation is a blurb, a description of the heritage value. So if you go to Google and you type in BCC Heritage Register, it will take you to a page that allows you to search for the property. You can search just based on suburb, street, or you can go right down to the individual property level. When you actually bring up or click on the property in question, it will bring up a, like I said, blurb description of what the heritage value is on the property. So it might say, hey, this was the first type of house in this area, or it's a unique example of this type of house for Brisbane, or it was built by this famous architect, or it was lived in or built by this famous premier, or what's another one? Churches. It might have been used for a famous or a important sort of reason over time. So you can get any of those different reasons and it will actually go into detail. Usually has some photos and all that sort of stuff too. Unfortunately, not every single property has a citation yet. I will get to that though. So yes, the first thing I'd suggest is go in, search for the citation and work out where the actual value lies, because that will then help you get an idea as to what council will and won't let you do on that site. And I'll talk more about that when I get down to the examples. Now, point number 2, let's go demo. Generally speaking, more of the original fabric that you can retain, the better. So basically, if the heritage listed building has been extended or added onto over time, and you can ensure that the new work just touches onto those additions, then you're going to be better off. Whereas if you're planning to demolish parts or components of the original fabric, yeah, that might be a little bit more problematic and, what's the word I'm looking for? Difficult. There we go. Okay, point number 3, conservation. I'm going to shorten it. So basically, if you can argue that, hey, by allowing this proposal, you're going to free up some cash, some money to be able to do conservation work on the heritage building, that's going to result in a net benefit for council. So they're going to sit here and say, well, hey, we want to preserve this heritage listed building or site into the future. If we don't let them do this, then this is obviously going to fall into disrepair. We're going to lose that heritage site. So hey, maybe we should compromise and maybe we should let them do this. So general principles, like I said, have a look at the citation to work out where the value lies, because that'll let you know what council will and won't, as a general rule, allow on the site. Try to reduce the amount of demolition to the original fabric And last but not least, see if there's ways that you can add value to that original character, or I should say original heritage building, as an offset for the work you're doing. Now, we're going to go through a series of examples of projects that I've worked on over the last, let's say, 5 years. They're pretty good. So we've done a heap more examples than this, but these are really sort of key examples that highlight some of these points here. So the first one, worked on a site at Indooroopilly. When you actually look at the citation of that property, it talks about the fact that the stables at the back were used for horses as they were moving from the CBD out to Ipswich. So it was kind of like a watering station, a place where people took rest, gave the chance for the horses to fill up on water, food, all of that sort of stuff. So the idea of removing the stables in the rear of the property, yeah, that was an issue. Now, when it came to, yeah, those aren't relevant. Okay, so another example, we've got two examples here. We looked at a property on Coronation Drive in Milton and another property at Newmarket. In that instance, so the Milton one, we wanted to do a childcare centre in front of the heritage listed building, and the Newmarket one, we wanted to look at doing subdivision in front of the building. What we found out was the value lied in the views towards those structures. So when you're going down Coronation Drive, the views to the heritage listed building, or as you're going down Newmarket, no, it's not Newmarket Road, Enoggera Road. Now, what's that road up there? Kelvin Grove Road? Yeah, I think it's Kelvin Grove Road at that point. But basically, as you're going along there, you need to be able to retain those views to the heritage listed buildings. So the idea of chopping the land up in front or building structures in front, which obviously is going to happen after you chop the land up, was a big no-no for council. When it came to the Paddington exam, so we worked on a heritage listed house a couple of years ago now. It was basically lived in by one of our previous premiers. He was known for or remembered for being a humble man, and council wanted the house to replicate or reflect that. So basically they weren't the biggest fans of raising the house up and doing massive extensions to the side and the front. They wanted to keep it nice and cute and small, low to the road, because like I said, that reflected the humble nature of the premier. Manly. Okay, so we had a job, let's go back about 4 years ago now, back when the new planning scheme came in, where we were trying to convert an old convent, or not convert it, sorry, yes, it was a convent at that stage. So convert it back to a house, but then subdivide the rest of the property. In that situation, we were able to argue that the building was in a state of disrepair, essentially. So if we were to leave it there, it was just going to fall down. However, if council let us do the subdivision, the profits from the subdivision were going to allow the owner to renovate and restore the heritage building. So basically preserve it for future generations. Obviously that's a win for council, because in this instance the value wasn't in the property, the land itself. Well, there's obviously a little bit of value, but the key value was the building itself. Now, I mentioned before citation. What happens if you don't have a citation? That's what happened in this instance here at Manly. We actually used that to our advantage. We did the research. There is amazing groups out there and research sources and all that sort of stuff. I was talking to the Wynnum Manly, I think it's a historic society, going through all these old books, Trove, the government state library sort of website, that's amazing. So yeah, we went out there and collated the information for council, packaged it up in a nice little way that maybe suited us, and presented it to council. So yes, normally there are citations out there, but every now and then you come across a site the council hasn't yet done the research for. In that situation, if you want to do the development, the onus is on you to do the research. Now, Toowong. This is the inquiry we had, one of the ones we've had in the last week. So the old Brisbane City Council Library on the corner, it's basically on Coronation Drive next to Toowong Shopping Village. That is heritage registered or listed, or the value I should say lies in the fact that it was built by a famous architect. So my advice, this one obviously hasn't gone before council, but my advice was that council will want to, in my opinion, want to keep it as a small sort of humble building. They won't want you raising it up and extending it forward and all of that sort of stuff. Also, they want to make sure that the ongoing function of that building is preserved as a commercial sort of use. So they won't want you to remove the car parking around the building. Any development of that site will need to preserve the existing parking or reinstate it in one shape or form. And finally, yes, they probably will allow some sort of commercial development around it. But they don't want it sort of towering over and overshadowing and overpowering and reducing the value of that heritage listed building. So maybe you could do a little bit of development around, maybe a 2-story building or something, as long as you did some basement car parking, something along those lines, to ensure that that commercial building can continue to operate into the future. So, hopefully those examples there give you a bit more background into that sort of stuff, the 3 key points or tips that I want to give you. Now, I want to give a shout out. So we work regularly with 2 key heritage architects. The first one is Peter from PD Architecture, cool name, right? And the second one is Rebecca from Family Home Experts. Both of those guys are vital and have been vital over the last few years in building my knowledge. So, I don't for 1 second want to sit here and pretend I'm a heritage expert. I've learned a lot of stuff over the years, but I'm a town planner. I'm not a heritage architect. If you have any questions, I would strongly encourage you to chat to those guys. They are amazing. Anyway, until next time, thanks for watching.
For all you red tape lovers out there, I have one thing to say. Well, no, actually, I've got three. Number one, the advice provided in these videos is general in nature. It's not site specific. You would be a silly billy to go and make financial decisions based on this advice without first checking with the town planner. Don't be a silly billy. Number two, Brisbane town planning is in no way linked to Brisbane City Council. The views expressed in these videos are my own, not council's. So if you don't like them, blame me, not council. Number three, what was my number three? Oh yeah, the views expressed in these videos are accurate at the time of recording. If you're watching this video back 10 years from now, the views may not be so accurate. That's all. Bye.